These days, a lot of people use EVNG because it supports multi-vendor labs. Now, Packet Tracer is pretty much dead now. That's because CML free tier is available. But what if you want to run another vendor in CML like Fortinet? Well, let me show you how you can do that. If you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button.
Let's start going here. In order to get a Fortinet image into a CML, what do I need? First of all, obviously, I need a running CML. In my case, I have a version which is 2.9, which is one of the latest ones I have. Now, you need to have at least 2.7 and above. Advisable would be the latest. It has with a lot of new features, so it makes a lot of sense to have that. Once you have that up and running, what I would need to do is, in my case, again, if you notice that I'm running in a VMware workstation, and I've shown how I've installed it in the previous videos also. Now I need to go to my IP, which is right here, 192.168.136.132. Once I go there, I'm able to log in. If you see that I'm logged in and running right now, the next thing once you're in there, you want to go to is Tools, and you go to the Nodes and Image Definitions. This is the place where you see all the images. And also another thing you will need is the actual image. For example, if you're doing Fortinet in this video, or if you were doing Palo Alto, you will have to get your own image. So you need to have an image, a license, or if it's an eval image, that's perfectly fine also. This is the space where we're going to start. You can do it via the GUI, which is the easiest way, or if you like the SSH way, you're definitely able to do that as well. The first thing you want to do is you want to upload the actual image that you just have, okay? So in order to do that, the simple way to do that is, as I showed you, you can go to Tools here, and you go to the Nodes and Image Definitions. Once you're there, you can go to the Image Definitions, which is this tab right here. Once you're here, you click on Manage, and this is where you're going to actually go ahead and upload your file. I have a folder in which I have all my files. I have been using EVNG for a long time. That's why you'll see that. And these two files are exactly the same. The reason I have this named a little differently because that's what EVNG support. But in Cisco, this is what I'm going to use, which is the same exact two files, just a different name. You click on it and you click on Upload Image, and you notice that it's uploaded it. Let's refresh it. Now, you want to go back to Tools. And before you could actually click, also you notice that it's going to ask you for create a new image definition. That's the third step, I would say. The first step, upload the image. Second step is actually go to Tools and you go to Node Definitions. And this is where we create a new node definition. Let's go ahead and click a node definition and build one from scratch. ID, I'll just say FortiGate KVM. Description, you can just say FortiGate. And if you want to give it a version, so you can do that if you like. 0.5, that's the one I know it is. Nature, let's call it a server here. And user interface, we'll leave it for now. Prefix, and this is where you can say FGT. Icon, let's use a firewall because that's what we want to show up. Label, sure, FortiGate is fine. Linux native simulation, it's KVM. And this is going to be server again. And disk driver is virtual. Memory, again, memory is something that you'll have to figure out that how much your license allows you. I'm trying to use an eval license here, and that's the reason I'm going to just use 2048. CPU, it only supports one, so we'll go there. CPU limit, let's put 50% there. Model is not asking. Driver, oh, that's the one. Don't need any of this. A video model is something if you want to really use DNC, we're not going to use it. We're going to basically just use the default telnet. Skim through this. Estimate resources, don't have to do that. Has a loop back, I'll say no. Number of serial ports, let's say 1. We'll leave that at default, nothing there. Minimum, let's call it 4. And default physical interfaces 4. And now we're going to start adding interface. The first port that FortiGate uses is actually port 1. I'll just hit interface 0. I'm just mapping it up to port 1. And I'm just going to click on this button here, increment last interface. So just do it 4 times. That does it. And rest, I think we can leave it there the way it is. And just click on create, and I think we're good. Let's see if it gives me any error message. Timeout, yes. So let's put 600 seconds. Sure, no problem. Create. Anything it didn't like? No, I think it's all good. Perfect. So updated definitions. Now we're going to go back to the tools node and to the image definitions. And this is where we're going to add the image definitions. I can simply click on add, right? ID, label, description, same stuff. So this FortiOS, and I'm going to use the same label. If you want, I can just throw in the same thing or just say FortiGate if you like. No definition. Let's look for the FortiGate, the definition that we actually created. Okay. And disk image, this is the one we uploaded. And this one, we really don't have to put anything there if you don't want to. So I think that's pretty much it at this point, I'm thinking. So let's click on create image definition. It says it's created. Perfect. And if you want to make changes to it afterwards, you can always see right now it will have that read-only options. Then you won't be able to make any changes. You can just turn that off in your case if you want to make changes, and then you are able to make the changes. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well. Now, once you've done that, one thing I would recommend is just go to your Copilot and just restart all the services. Just a good practice. I always follow that. And once you do that, it might ask you to log in once more, which is perfectly fine. Admin and my password. And once I'm in here, I'm in my dashboard. Now let's see if I can actually go ahead and add the FortiGate. So if you know that this is the nodes option, let's look for FortiGate. And yes, of course, I have it now. So I'll drag it here. Let's look for Chrome. Let's add that here. Add a link. Sure. It's going to create a link now. And here now configuration, if you notice that automatic is set up, but you can, if you had multiple options, you could have picked which one you want, but we'll leave it on automatic. And you can also define here if you want to go lower RAM or CPU in this case. Okay, now as I said, it's an eval that I'm using, so the limit for me is 2048, which is 2 gigs of RAM and 1 CPU. That's what I've already put it on default, so I'm okay there. Chrome, I think nothing interesting here, except let's give it an IP address here that I'm going to use. So we're going to use the same IP address that it has. The only thing is that I'm using Ethernet 0, so we'll select that. And I think that's it. We haven't done anything with the FortiGate, so we'll let that start. So, and right click, start this one too. And if I click on it, and if I go console, that should actually give me the FortiGate console. We'll give it a few minutes till it shows up. Looks like it's coming up right now. And you'll see that this is the serial number that was given to you. So pretty much like if you had a new FortiGate you were consoled in, or you were using FortiGate in your previous labs, which is EVNG, that's exactly the same. Login by default is admin. First time you need to click in with admin, password, leave it blank, and it's going to ask you to set up a new password, which you, and now you're in. Once you've done this, the next thing you want to do is actually set up and give it an IP address so you can log in from the Chrome, right? So let's go ahead and do it. If you say config system and interface, and then we do edit, interface name, port 1, that's the port we're using. And we say set mode static. All right. And then let's set up an IP. So set IP, and then we'll give it the same IP that I had for the Chrome, right? So it was 0.0. Let's give it 100, and then the subnet mask. And now you want to make sure that I'm allowing everything. And you can say HTTPS, HTTP if you want, SSH, or even ping, right? Once you've done that, just hit end and you're good. We'll open up the Chrome. And try to go into our FortiGate. Okay, so that certainly didn't work. Now, few things I tried for troubleshooting, so I'll cut you through all the pain that I had to go through, and I'll quickly run you through what exactly I did so far. First of all, I tried changing the NIC on the FortiGate itself. So if you remember, if I go to Tools and the nodes and the image definitions, when you go to the node definitions, if you look for Forti here, and if you notice that the driver or the NIC, that is something that you can select, right? And while I'm skimming through this one right here, network drive. So it was basically selected to this. I tried switching to this, still no luck. So that certainly didn't work. The next part of troubleshooting, what I did was actually, I'll go back to my dashboard, the labs. I connected the Ubuntu here. And if you notice that what I've done here is with the Ubuntu, first I'll show the Fortinet here and then the Ubuntu. Ubuntu, I gave it the IP address that I was trying to give to Chrome, and I was trying to ping from the FortiGate, and this time I was able to ping each other. It was certainly something was happening with the Chrome, like the Chrome will not let me connect opening a browser. With Ubuntu it worked, but I cannot use this particular container that I had with Ubuntu because this does not have a browser. So the next step that I'm going to try and do is I'm going to pull out a desktop. If you do a new node, and if you just pull down basically a desktop here, which is an Alpine Linux, which also has a browser, which is more like a PC. So let's try this one now next. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this thing down here. Okay. And I'm going to delete this. Yes, I don't want this. And now we're going to stop the desktop here and add a link. So same port, we'll create a link. Now let's start this. Okay, see the first thing you want to do here is you want to just go into the console actually. It's going to ask you for a password, which is actually Cisco all lowercase. And once you're in there, this is where you can actually assign it an IP address. So I'm going to try and keep it the same. So sudo ifconfig Ethernet 0. That's the port that I'm connected on. And then let's go for the IP, which was 10.0.0.1 net mask 255.255.255.0, and that's taken. Okay, now let's try to see to ping the other side. Or before we do that, how about I ping my own self first, which was this, just to make sure I'm up and running. Yes, I am. Now let's go to the Fortinet side. Looks like yes, I am. Perfect. That part is good. So another thing you want to do is now go to the VNC, open the VNC, and let's make it a little bigger here so you can see it. Login is Cisco. I'm in here now. Once I'm in here, I can go to Applications, Internet, Firefox. That should give me the Firefox. And by default, that application is already installed. Because the Chrome container is not a full-blown browser, so that's the reason I'm trying this option here. Now let's go for HTTPS and 10.0.0.100. Okay, now let's go to the FortiGate here. And I'm going to try and ping. And I surely can. It looks like both ways I can ping. I can ping from the browser to the FortiGate, and FortiGate can print the actual desktop. So both these devices are definitely reachable on layer 2, that's for sure. Let's see what else can be going on here. You can check for the configuration again, just to make sure. So show system interface and then port 1. And you notice that it is allowed already on ping and HTTPS, and so is HTTP. So that part is taken care of. There's nothing blocking from the FortiGate. Okay, try it again just with not typing HTTP, just straight up. It looks like it's up and running now. Let me see if I can log in. No, I don't want to save you later. I don't want to see this again. Perfect. So there we go. Cisco CML, and you have your FortiGate up and running. Simple troubleshoot next time if you want to do it is, instead of using the Chrome or the Ubuntu, use the desktop option. You can connect it directly, and now you can actually be in there, make any changes as if you're directly logged in. You go on network, you can make any changes there, interfaces, right? So you see everything up and running. Now, I won't go into this config here. The perfect reason of doing this would be is if you're using CML and you like CML, but if you have one off case of where you want to use some other vendor, go ahead and use this option. And this way you can have any vendor here. I tried Fortinet in this case. You can try Palo Alto, Juniper.
In this video, we successfully added FortiGate Firewall into the CML. Now, we even did a little bit of troubleshooting along the way. I love to hear which image you're planning to get into your CML next. Drop it in the comments. Now, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.